In this video, we're going to look at the new features in ONYX 21. We'll explain how to use them and talk about how they may benefit you in your workflow. So let's jump into SwatchBooks. First thing we're going to do is make sure all of our settings are configured correctly for the media profile and print mode that we want to perform a SwatchBooks section for. I'm going to select a spot color here. This is the point where you would want to select the color that's giving you the problem that you're trying to solve by getting a closer match in SwatchBooks. Once I have everything configured, I'm going to click OK. It'll bring me into the default SwatchBooks dialog. You can see there's a couple new things here. We've added the starting color section, which always keeps the color that you selected at the beginning of the SwatchBooks section. We also have a new source color section. We also have a new selected color section. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to print our swatches just like before. But in ONYX 21 we now have two buttons here. One is for print measurement swatch. That would be the workflow for using a spectrophotometer that we'll cover later. And there's the print visual swatch button, which allows us to print out the swatches and inspect them visually and select the one that's the closest match. So we're going to print a visual swatch. Click print, and it lets me know that the job's been sent to RipQ. I'm going to bounce over to RipQ. I'll select the job, and I'm going to print it. Once the job is completed printing, you would take it off the printer and you would compare it to the color that you're trying to match through SwatchBooks. Once I've made the comparison and I found the color that's the closest match, I'm going to come back into SwatchBooks. And the new feature that we've added in ONYX 21 is you can come in here in SwatchBooks and you can select the swatch that matches the color that's the closest match for you. So let's say it's this color here. I'm going to hover over it. You can see it's identifying that. And I'm going to click it. Once I do so, you can see that now becomes my selected color. And I have a couple of new options that I can do with that selected color. The first one is I can set this as the source. What that will do is it will take these device values and it will place them as my new source color. And that will automatically generate a new swatch set based on my criteria over here, which allows me to print an iteration. This is the workflow you would use if the color that you selected is the closest out of these colors, but it's not quite close enough. You can select that close color and you can set it as the source, which will give you the new swatch set, which allows you to iterate and continue to improve how close you are to matching that actual color. So now that I've selected a new color, you can see the second button is Add to Print Mode. This button allows you to complete your SwatchBooks selection by adding that color as a print mode defined color from within SwatchBooks. Once I click this button, it's going to bring up the dialog to add a print mode color. It'll give you a chance to put in a name and if you'd like a comment. And of course all of our settings are being carried over from our SwatchBooks session and it has our device values in here. I'm going to leave all the defaults and click OK. That means that the next time a job is ripped with that print mode, the software will automatically replace that print mode color with the defined colors from this SwatchBooks session. That covers the changes for the visual workflow. Next we're going to take a look at doing a printed SwatchBooks job with a spectrophotometer. To begin a printed SwatchBooks session, we're going to do the exact same workflow as before. We'll click on SwatchBooks. When the dialog opens, you'll select all the criteria for the color. I'm going to select spot color again. And in this case, I'm going to pick Pantone 185C as the color that I'm trying to get the match for. I'm going to click OK. It's going to auto-generate some patches for me. This time, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select Print Measurement Swatch. When I do, it's going to bring up the Print Measurement Swatch option. The first thing you'll notice is the print button is grayed out. You'll first need to add a color device before you can print your swatches. And of course, in this step, you'll be adding the color device that you have. After adding a color device, the print button is now available, and I'll click print. Same as before, it's going to submit my swatches to the queue, but this time you'll notice in RipQ, my swatches look a little bit different. They match the swatch pattern for the color device that I'm going to be measuring that swatch with. I'm going to print that job. Once the job is completed printing, it'll change from printing to waiting to measure. At this point, you'll let the swatches dry, you'll remove them from the printer, and you'll get them ready to scan with your spectrophotometer. In ONYX, to measure the swatches, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to select Measure Swatch. After you've completed measurements with your spectrophotometer, you can click OK to accept the readings, and it will come up with a report that will give you a delta E value along with the device values for each of the swatches. At this point, you have a couple different options. First being you can generate the report, which will create an HTML page that you can view all of the information for this SwatchBook job. This is dynamic, so it's sortable. You can sort based on which is the worst and which is the best as far as delta E is concerned. You can see the patch ID, the target, measured, and device values. Also from within this dialog, you can view the measurements, or you can add a color to a print mode. If you were to select a swatch that has the lowest delta E value here, you can click the button to add to print mode. It's going to have the spot color name that we started with. You can add a comment, it has the printer information, and it has the device values. Clicking OK will let you know that that color has been added to the print mode and will now perform a replacement when this color is in a job that's printed with this print mode. The other option here is that you have SwatchBooks. If you've scanned all of your swatches and your delta E values are not what you would like, you can perform an iteration by selecting SwatchBooks, which will bring up a new SwatchBook session. It has our original starting color, it has our source color, and we can now iterate by creating a new swatch set with different values. Come in here, you can change the criteria by which the swatches are generated if need be, and get a whole new set of swatches that you can then print again with the measurement swatch that will get submitted to the queue, where you can print and scan as many times as needed to achieve the delta E rating for that particular swatch that you're looking for. And that covers the new scanning workflow in SwatchBooks 2.0 with ONYX 21.